Welcome back, folks. This is Zeros to Heroes, our D&D stream that started with 6 episodes of Level Zero. Um, my name's Jack. I'll be your DM. With me is Baniel and Becca and John and Mel and Juliet. And this cast of characters has spent a few days choosing which direction they would travel when they were given patronage to learn anything they wanted, as long as they kind of earned it through games and competitions. Now, 5 years have gone by. 5 long years in some cases, and 5 nebulous short years in some cases. But nevertheless, 5 years have passed since last we saw our characters. Today is an auspicious day in Taldori, because on the continent of Taldori, the central and central west portions will experience a full eclipse where the moon Ruidus will be crossing in front of the sun, casting a halo of light across the land. And if you're just in the right place, you'll see a fiery ring burning in the sky. Don't look too closely or you'll hurt your retinas. Now, as 5 years have passed, each of these players, each of these characters have learned their trade. They have gone out on many missions as apprentices and students, but they are off on their first solo mission. And we'll learn about what that is as we enter the story. As said, this is Eclipse Day, and the eclipse should be occurring soon as we focus in on a rider who is trotting his horse eastward from Iman toward the small town of Gladewell, where he grew up. Stony is trotting his horse. What kind of horse is Stony riding? What do we see?
I would imagine maybe like an Appaloosa type horse.
Colorful, spotty, and sitting astride this Appaloosa 5 years after we last saw him as a farmhand, what does Stony look like today?
So Stony has kind of finally filled out his weird wiry frame. He looks stockier now. He's maybe grown like an inch at most, but he's certainly a bit wider. His arms are still almost awkward length, but it fits him. His dwarf features have kind of filled him out a bit, and he looks like a very, very short, very stocky human.
Okay. Can you describe the equipment and the clothing he's got on?
Yeah, so he's got some medium armor on, just a bit of scale mail, just for an added bit of protection. He's got gloves on, and sitting atop his head, he's got these kaleidoscopic glasses. Goggles, if you will.
Okay. And what types of bags or gear are hanging off of his horse in pouches and saddlebags?
All kinds of tools. We're talking tinker's tools, smith tools. It's just It's quite a bit excessive. There are plates of like metal, like scrap metal. Some of it is like jangling. It maybe spooks the horse a bit at the beginning, but the horse is used to Stoney's BS at this time, so it just kind of deals with it. Um, but he's got a few books in a sack that crosses his guard here. In fact, while he's like lazily trotting, he's looking at a book right now, just sort of reading and thinking, speaking to himself aloud, more like mumbling to himself.
As if almost taking mental notes of things
Yes.
that occur to him and wishing he could stop and write them down, but has places to be. Um, Iman is over 300 miles away from Gladewell. Have you traveled this entire distance alone on horseback? Did you have anyone to accompany you part way?
Oh no,
All alone.
all alone. He wouldn't ask anyone to come with him.
Okay. You have noticed there have been lots of travelers you've passed coming and going. The road is more heavily traveled now than you remember 5 years ago. Strangely, you haven't been back home. I mean, it is a far distance, but you haven't been back home in all this time. Can you tell us what kind of word you've gotten or what kind of correspondence you've made with, let's say, your family and friends back in Gladewell?
Well, I know some of my friends scattered. I kept in contact with Rip and Pieta. I tried to keep in contact with Sunny. Um, but my letters seem to have failed to be delivered, so, he hasn't written as many in the past year or so. Um, but he's heard a lot about Rip's uh, own journeys. He's written to his parents, of course, and they're doing fine. The farm is running great. The the occasional like cow or horse gets loose because they liked the grass in the other fields. And so they had to corral them, maybe like 20 at one point because the fence broke. Um, in
Very
fact,
typical things that you're used to
yes,
or were used to.
yes. So he's sort of like he's he's a little worried at being called out to his hometown. Just he's not like 100% worried because he hasn't heard anything. Nothing too major has happened, or at least as far as he's aware.
Okay. As you trot along, do you think Stony would have started very early in the morning or slept in at all?
He would probably start early. I think that um, for him, the optimal time to go is right when the sun right at sunrise, and he's used to it. He may have to wrangle his sleep schedule a bit in order to like wake up on time. Maybe he's like a little bit late to sunrise, but he does get up early. He leaves. He makes sure he has enough snacks and rations and maybe a little sweet treat. Just because he deserves it.
Of course. And how long has it taken Stony, to get from Iman to basically what we consider the outskirts of Gladewell? It's 300 plus miles.
Well, if it's 300 plus miles, uh, should I calculate the average trotting pace of a horse?
I would say that if you're taking it fairly easily, you could go 20 miles a day. If you're pushing it, maybe 30. I mean, if you're going to kill your horse, maybe 50. But I doubt you're in that big a rush. They just told you to go check it out.
No, I think that so he'll do a hybrid. So he understands that horses, they need to eat and stuff, and maybe exercise a bit. So maybe he'll spend some of his time focusing on the ride and going at maybe like a faster, steady pace, but not enough to like tire out the horse for the whole day. And then when we're at like just like a trot, then he'll like relax and pull out all of his reading material. So he'll get there. He'll use a combination of both.
Let's say 10 days then,
All right.
averaging 30 miles a day. Some days were faster. So I'm just trying to paint the picture here, ladies and gentlemen and players. The sun has just arisen, and in the distance in front of him, Stoney's squinting into the rising sun. Um, there's dew in the air as the sun is coming up. It's a crisp morning. He's louder than he thought he should be because it's jingling, jingling, and the air is still and close with the fog hanging, and it's the jingle's very loud in his ears as the horses clop on the ground. Um, he's mumbling to himself, pausing in between, looking around him and observing the new morning, and looking back at his book and his notes and muttering about different chemical equations and concoctions and the way things fit together. Uh, Fern, can you make the first roll of the game
I can.
and roll a perception check?
All right. That will be a 16.
16. See, folks, we do roll dice. It is a Dungeons and Dragons game. Fern, as you are just finishing clearing up your camp and kicking dirt over the embers and cinching up your horse and walking it out from underneath the shelter of trees, making sure that you have covered your horse's hooves with thin metal, thin material, so that it doesn't make this clopping sound, and tying everything down so nothing is flapping, nothing can distract you, or nothing can draw attention to you. What does Fern look like?
So Fern she's a little bit taller, but not a whole lot. She was already kind of on that beginning cusp of young adulthood and has just kind of blossomed a little bit more into it. She has kind of sharper features. Her green hair that used to be threaded with flowers no longer has all of the colorful flowers in it, but it has a couple of leaves here and there. She's wearing a riding cape with a hood, but the hood is not up currently. And she has she's very lithe. She looks like she would be very light on her feet. And about 5'2". She's not tiny, but she's compact enough to get around and stay a little bit out of sight. And she's wearing these loose and brown pants underneath a traveler's dress. Very unassuming, boring colors. And when she does ride her horse, she sits side saddle.
Ooh. Do you point left or right?
Right.
Oh, okay. And what's going through Fern's mind as she walks her horse out from under the boughs of the copse of trees that she's been in.
So Fern started this journey excited but a little frustrated. She had been really wanting, her first solo mission, and it finally came, and it just took her back home. And so she's a little frustrated about that. But as it's going, she has started to kind of it's sinking in what the mission is. And the more that she thinks on the spiders that she is supposed to seek out, the more she feels this pit of trepidation that is growing in her stomach. Not because she particularly doesn't like spiders, but she doesn't like what they signify, and what has happened because of spiders in the past, and their associations. So she has a little trepidation about what might be waiting. She's afraid that there might be more to what is going on. But she assumes she's probably wrong, because they would never send her on her first mission to some terrible, crazy thing on her own. So she's kind of on the edge of trepidation, but she's still excited.
So would you say that she thinks maybe it's a double cross? Is that what you're saying?
Not so much a double cross on her, but maybe on the town of
Okay.
Gladewell.
All right. Can we see any weapons or any gear that's in the open?
Yeah, you can see one. So she has a bow that is kind of slung across her back with her quiver, and it's not anything fancy. The bow is very basic. It's something that she, has borrowed from someone else. Well, borrowed. Um, but that's the only weaponry that you can easily see on her.
Okay. So this cloak, you're cloaked, right?
But without the hood up.
Right. This cloaked figure steps quietly out of the quiet woods. And Fern, you hear a loud clopping and jingling sound coming down the road. What do you do?
She's gonna tense up, but she knows that she is not known to be a member of the clasp among any other city yet. And there's no reason for anyone to feel threatened by her at the moment. So she's gonna relax and continue to look like an unassuming passerby with her horse.
Yeah, fair enough, because somebody who's just clopping along clearly isn't concerned, or like they're not going fast enough to be in a hurry to get something or do something. They're just moving at just a jaunty gait down the road. And as they come into view out of the kind of early morning mist, you recognize them. Even though they have big kaleidoscopic goggles on their forehead, there's really no mistaking that blocky shape and the weirdly muscled torso. Even through the shoulders are wider than they're supposed to be, the arms are a little bit longer. It's clearly your old friend, shall we say, Stony, and he has not seen you yet.
She is going to immediately take a intake of breath that she didn't know she was taking, and step back into the shadows of the trees to kind of collect herself. She hasn't seen Stony in 5 years, nor heard from or tried to speak to him. So the last thing she remembers is their encounter in his bedroom. And she is going to debate for a moment how to approach things, and then kind of smile and position herself so she can have a good viewpoint of where he is. And then she's going to think back to something that she's been practicing. So Fern, every so often, while she has been in Iman, the city has been very overwhelming. She is not used to living in crazy packed cities with lots going on and all the noise and not a lot of nature. And so a couple of times while she has been away, she has stolen back just to the very outskirts of the forest that is near Gladewell, and spent time trying to get away from all of that. And while she has been there, she has been trying to recreate the blue rainbow that she created during the tests during the festival. And during this time, she has figured out how to create very simple, small, still images or sounds that can travel a fair ways. And so she is going to send a chittering noise like a squirrel in Stony's direction.
All right. Stony, on your left shoulder, you hear a squirrel chittering.
Is there one there?
Nothing. No, nothing there. Can you please roll a perception check with disadvantage?
Cool. Because I'm
Because
really
you're
good at perception.
completely not paying attention.
That's a 1.
Fern, you see him jump and almost fall out of his horse. He's leaning sideways, has to grab the saddle horn to pull himself back up, and he's looking around frantically. He does not look in your direction.
He moves the sound to his other shoulder.
You see him freak out, but not quite as badly. What would you do in this case, Stony?
I think Stony would I think check the horse to see where the squirrel is.
Sure.
Like, how did it climb on the horse? Where did it go? Where did it go? And he's gonna look around, and if he doesn't see the squirrel, I mean, are there woods?
Probably set like 50 feet off the road in either direction. It's mostly scrub and occasional stands of trees.
Okay. He is going to he stops the horse. Well, he's already stopped it at this point, and so when he as soon as he realizes that the squirrel isn't there, and that it perhaps like ran off, he's going to like start going at a pace again. Just like just a little bit faster, so that squirrels can no longer climb on his horse.
Okay. Have you put your book away and you're paying attention now?
Yes, he is paying attention now. Like
All right.
he's very alert for a squirrel.
Fern, he's kind of leaving your range on that spell.
Okay.
What are you going to do now?
Is he in front of me now?
He has passed your position, yeah, and
Okay.
he's moving away from you.
She is going to pick up an acorn and throw it in his direction and try to clock him on the back of his head.
Okay, roll an attack. An improvised weapon.
It's a nat one.
It slips out of your hand and falls to the ground at your feet.
Okay.
It's slippery. There's dew on it.
Yeah, exactly. She's gonna try one more time.
Okay, go ahead. Roll it.
Okay. That's gonna be a 17.
That's a long throw. You've practiced this type of thing. You're kind of upset with yourself for dropping the first one. You're glad no one saw that.
Mhm.
But you rear back like a major league pitcher and wing this thing. Does a 17 hit your armor class, Stony?
Yes, it does.
You feel ping off the back of your neck.
Start yourself!
You just hear laughter coming from the trees behind you.
You vexing imp! Stay away from me!
She is going to mount her horse and come as quickly toward him as she can.
So you're coming out of your hiding spot now.
Mm-hmm. She was never really hiding. She just was there.
Oh, okay.
You just missed her.
So as soon as Stony sees you, he, at first, like, he squints, and then, his eyes go wide, and then he collects himself, and then he goes, oh, it's you, of course. Oh, that one. A classic, a time-old classic of yours. How very inconveniencing of you this time. You've really put a hindrance on me. I thought for sure that a squirrel was going to attack me.
Well, I had to say hello somehow.
Yes, I'm certain that you did.
Would you say you guys are walking your horses side by side now?
I don't
Or
know,
are you
side by
just standing
side.
still?
Stony has stopped.
Okay.
Okay. Fern will be she's not beside him, but she is behind him.
Okay. So you keep riding your horse so you'll be like uncomfortably over his shoulder.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, well, you've said hello. You have antagonized me again for the first time in, gosh, how long has it been? Well, 5 years, was it?
Yes, I believe so.
So now you are satisfied, and now you can leave me alone.
That.
I'm sorry?
What fun is that, Stony?
Oh, it's plenty fun. See, you leave me alone, and I have a good life, and you antagonize someone else, and they have a horrible life, and you leave me alone.
Are you trying to tell me that your life is horrible?
Well, it wasn't before, but now it is. Now that you're here in this present moment in time.
Well, I apologize for being such a burden on you.
Oh, yes, you should apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've forgotten your name. What was it? Was it, a bush? Was it, tree? No, that's right. You're named after the other green things. Fern. Yes, that's it. I remember now. Silly me.
Mm. Okay. And yours was what was it? Was it dirty baby? I think that might be it.
I am not a dirty baby. My name is Stony, and you remember it because you are obsessed with me.
Obsessed with you?
I have figured you out, you see. You are obsessed with me because I am a genius. Well, I'm sorry to say that my genius cannot be copied. What is so damn funny?
You think I'm obsessed with you because you're a genius?
Why else would
Oh.
you be?
Oh, no, 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 no. You're just so fun to play with. But you will recall that it's been 5 years since you've seen me. Hardly an obsession.
I suppose you're right. Unless, of course, you were stalking me. I wonder, was it you that made me trip up those stairs in front of the headmaster?
Oh, you'll never know.
Damn it!
Where are you going?
Where am I going?
Mhm.
Oh, obviously, to a place that I will never tell you. Because I don't want you following me.
Let's see here. You look like you're saddled up to, I don't know, raid an entire campsite of hundreds of people, the amount of things you have on your horse.
I
Probably,
suppose it would look that way to a simpleton like you.
probably a few
Sorry,
weeks
continue.
journey. So I'm going to guess that you're headed back home.
Very astute of you, though I am not going home. I am going to Kimol. Yes.
You've always been such a terrible liar, Stony.
Well, damn it! Stop following me!
Well, what if I lead you then?
Lead me?
Mm-hmm.
I know the way home.
Oh, so do I. How convenient.
Don't tell me that you're going too.
Of course I am. Why
Why,
else would I be here?
I don't know. You do silly things, so of course you would be in a silly place like this.
This is hardly a silly place. Look around you.
It's the woods?
Yes.
Oh, that is rather silly. To me.
Well, you have always had such a strange mind, it's true.
Strange, I prefer genius.
Yes, you do prefer that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Because it is
new
true.
obsessive word for you.
Yes, well, you see, sometimes I'm at a loss for words, but my true strength is pen and paper, of course.
Well, genius. I'll lead the way, and we'll make our way back home.
Fine, so long as you don't bother me.
Of course. And she's going to send the noise of the squirrel back to his ear.
Yeah! I knew it! I knew it! You couldn't handle yourself for 1 second. So, you get no companions on your ride back home, wherever your home was in the first place.
And how are you going to get back home without seeing me?
Without seeing you? Well, of course, I'll just wait until you go away. Or if you wait behind, then I'll go first.
All right. I will see you later. And she starts to trot off.
Does Stony wait? What are you doing?
Yeah, Stony waits.
How far does Fern go?
She's gonna keep going.
Okay.
All right, and then Stony is going to start right before Fern goes right outside of his vision.
So he's going to just be on the edge of losing her, but keep her in sight. Got it.
Mhm.
So now you're stalking.
The sun rises, and maybe an hour passes. Stoney finds himself out of sight and rushes to catch up. And then, after he loses his focus again, he finds himself really close, like way too close. And Fern is looking back over her shoulder and smiling. And so Stoney stops again and falls back. And this continues for another hour, and the sun is still low but rising. And as you look up, you can see, let's say here's the sun, and Ruidus is rising kind of on an arc from below and to the side. It's slowly moving up, and every time you glance at it, it's a little closer. You guys know. Oh, go ahead.
Does it seem like we still have quite a bit of time before it passes?
Yeah, you would guess another hour or so. As you clip-clop down the road, or one of you does, the other one fairly quietly, on one of those times when Fern purposely slows down to make Stoney get close, you both catch out in front of you. Stoney, you're maybe 100 yards behind her, but a swirl of mist, and kind of not far in front of you, Fern, as you turn back from looking at Stoney, a swirl of mist in the road pulses in and out, and then a person is slowly walking along the road out of the mist, away from you towards Gladewell. Sonny, can you tell us what you look like 5 years later?
Yeah, for the most part, fairly similar. 4 feet tall, little plump, very stout, tan skin that's slightly more pale now, but freckled across the cheeks and nose. She is no longer wearing her bright, flowy skirt and top, though. She's traded that in for like dark black skin tight leather and leather pants. Um, she is, however, still wearing the bright patchwork cloak that is clasped at her chest with a stone pendant, the one that her mother had gifted to her. She has like dangly earrings made of bones, and she has around a leather necklace on her neck. It looks like a mummified raccoon paw, and yeah, and she has underneath one arm a familiar looking puppet, and Grim still has the same raven's head with the giant rabbit ears and the fox tail and the bat arms, bat wings for arms. Um, his legs that are made from a raccoon looks like they're missing a singular paw though. But other than that, he's about the same.
Do you still have the braids in your hair as you
Yeah.
did?
Yeah, definitely still braided, various trinkets in there, but not as colorful, more like feathers and bones and stuff like that that have been intricately braided into it.
So as you find yourself walking along this road that you recognize from years before, what's going through your mind?
Um, she is just kind of excited to be headed home after just a little bit of time. So she is thinking if she can scope out what mother has sent her on and figure that out, she'll might have time to see her family. So she kind of has a little pep in her step as she's like excited to be headed home.
Sonny, it feels different. Everything feels different. The air seems clearer, even though there's still the lingering dew on the grass. The air seems clearer. The blue sky seems brighter than you remember. The ground seems harder on your feet. The smells of the trees, the pine scent, seems stronger. The wind blows slightly, and a tiny piece of something, maybe a particle of leaf, gets in your mouth. You spit it out. It tastes like something. You don't remember the sensation of your tongue having that type of purpose all of a sudden. It's like you're in a fresh new place.
Definitely, as Sunny's walking, she's like starting to realize all her senses are feeling like they're coming alive. And so she kind of like stutters to a stop as she's just overwhelmed by all these not necessarily new senses, but bigger and brighter senses. She's gonna just like start sniffing the air and looking around, and it's slightly confusing and overwhelming for her. So she turns to Grim and she's like, "Are you seeing this?"
Does Grim answer her?
No, not this time.
Yeah, you're looking around, and then you hear from behind a sound you haven't heard in a while. A horse goes.
I immediately duck down and put my hands over my head.
Fern, you see this character that just walked out of the mist and took 20 steps, and it just ducks down as your horse makes a noise.
Do I recognize the colorful cloak?
There is a good chance you do. Yeah, I would say after a few beats, you see the gait of this person, the the ponytails and pigtails or the braids also are another piece of information, and you have been trained to notice things. You notice peculiarities. You notice tiny adjustments to hairdo and clothing. It's been beat into you to that if you don't notice these things, you're going to get hurt. And you've been thinking back over these years of all your friends that what did they have? You've been practicing with all the people that you remember, the specifics, the minuscule details. And so after about 10 seconds, it hits you like a punch in the face. That's Sunny.
Her heart skips a beat, and she lights up. A ray of sunshine appears.
Before you answer, Sunny, Stony, 100 yards back, you see something appear in the road. You see Fern's horse stop. And as you're walking closer, you see someone now has collapsed on the road. Now, skipping back from Stony, what does Sunny say when she hears those words?
Does she hear the word sunshine or does she see sunshine?
You're not looking, but you hear someone say a ray of sunshine.
Okay. I immediately turn around. I don't think I clocked the voice quite yet, but I'm curious enough that I whip my head around and I look directly into Fern's eyes.
Fern has ridden up beside her and has dismounted and holds out her hand to help Sunny stand up.
Oh, Sunny will take Fern's hand, and as she like stands up, she'll just go into a full embrace and hug you as tight as possible. Fern, missed you.
I missed you too. You are okay.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been that long since our adventure together, but I'm glad to see you are alive and well.
Well, you have a funny thought of time. It's been 5 years.
Wait, what?
5 years, Sunny.
No, it's been like a couple of months at most.
No, love.
What exactly do you mean? It's been 5 years? Like 5 years since the festival?
Do you see the person riding behind me?
Yeah, he's
What-
galloping up, by the way.
What are those weird
Clank,
goggles
clank.
on his head?
That's a good question. You should ask him that later. Take a
Okay.
good hard look.
As he
Okay.
rides right up to you.
Oh. I would probably recognize Stony, right? You haven't changed too much.
Not too much. Not too much. Maybe a little more facial hair, but yeah, it's him.
Stony! You all have been hanging out together?
Sonny! Are you alright? Fern is not accosting you, is she?
Oh, she's been quite lovely. Get me on off your horse. I need to give you a hug.
Oh, alright. And so he kicks his foot over, steps off the horse, and gives you a big hug. Why haven't you returned any of my letters? I've written to you.
What letters?
Where the letters? I've been sending you letters these past 5 years. I didn't know where to send them, so I sent them to your mother.
Hold on. 5 years. I don't understand what you are. It's just been a couple months.
Sunny, look at Stony. Does that look like just a couple of months?
What's that supposed to mean?
Have you checked your facial hair lately?
I swear, maybe I've got
It's a little scruffy.
He's taller too.
So you're saying I haven't seen any of my family for 5 years?
Well, yes. But you'll see them now?
Where have you been? What was that strange magical effect that I saw you walk out of? I could barely understand what was going on, but please, where have you been?
I don't know what magical effect you are speaking of. I was just talking with Mother, and she told me I needed to go inspect some things for her. And then I was just sent out her door, and now here I am.
Well, it seems you've been surrounded by some interesting magic, Sunny.
Maybe? Yeah. I guess?
Here.
So Tony is going to start looking at you with his goggles on. He's going to pull out a book. And he's going to start, pull out a quill, and he's going to start to say, so, tell me, how do you feel?
Fern's noticed that Stony has let go of the reins of his horse, and she just quietly takes them to make sure the horse doesn't run away.
Currently it is a little hot because it's very sunny. I'm kind of hungry. I did not eat breakfast this morning.
And tell me.
I try to poke the goggles.
Stop that. I'm trying to see the minor chromatic fluctuations in your magical wave energies. Now, tell me, how is Grim doing?
Oh, Grim is doing great. Why you fucking ask about me, you bug-eyed weirdo?
Oh, well, that's rather rude, Grim. I just wanted to, learn a few things about you. There's no need to be rude to me.
I'm not being rude. I'm just stating the obvious. Four Eyes.
Sunny, I forgot to
Well.
tell you, Stony is a genius now.
Oh.
No, I've always been a genius. I am just out here trying to prove that to everyone.
I see. So you've been off studying these last couple months.
I have.
Wow. That sounds boring.
I assure you,
does.
it is far from boring. I could. Well, maybe I'll talk to you about it another time. Then I will show you that it's not so boring. But here, he goes over to his horse. Have you eaten? It's only been perceptionally a month for you, and you still haven't told me where you were. You really haven't changed at all, have you?
Oh, no, I guess not. There's a vague memory of a house, and it's pulsating like it's alive. I don't know. My head hurts.
House pulsating and head hurts.
I think we've paused long enough, friends.
Where are you all headed?
Back home.
Really?
Yes.
Can we
Yes.
walk together?
I think that's a great idea. In fact, Sunny, do you want to ride on my horse with me?
That's so generous. I would love to.
Or you could ride on my horse and not ever be antagonized by this plant girl here.
You two are so kind. How about
Sunny.
I'll go. Oh.
Sonny, you look at Stoney's horse and it's just covered with stuff that looks to you like junk. There's no place for you to fit on Stoney's
Okay.
horse.
That's good to know. I look it over and I come to that conclusion myself and be like, how about, new idea, I'll go on Fern's horse and Grim can go on your horse.
That's a
Oh!
lovely idea, Sunny.
I agree, which is strange that we agree. I would love to have a chance to talk to Grim. I hope you don't mind, Grim, if I talk to you. I have so many questions.
All right. We're going to freeze that frame there as you guys are hauling Sonny onto Fern's horse and y'all are getting ready to start. Rip. You are traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Your breath has been sucked out of you. You stepped into a tree and you see a light open in front of you, and you know you have a very short time, a few seconds, to get out of this light. It's parting like an iris, like a tall split, and you can see greenery and vague blurred light. It's a sunny day, but you can't really make out what it is. I'm assuming you jump through.
Yeah, Rip kind of stumbles through and immediately starts dusting themselves off. They have got some yellowish pollen on their cloak that they're dusting off. They're kind of sneezing a little bit. It's clear that the Keeper of Spores, the druid in charge of fungal type magic for the Druidic Order, sent them. And left a little bit of residue on my way through.
As they do.
As they do.
Describe Rip to us 5 years later.
So the Rip is still a couple inches shy of 3 feet. Their frame hasn't changed a whole lot, but their face is a little bit fuller. Their skin is a little bit brighter. They've clearly been eating a lot better over the past 5 years than they would have in their old village. They almost look a little bit younger. They're just less gaunt in general. Where they used to have an eye patch is now, it looks like a a false eye that is look like a moss ball. So it looks like moss is starting to grow out of their eye socket a bit.
Okay, that's gross.
Well, you asked. Their hair's a bit longer. It's not quite the like huge gnome plume that you see, but it's got a few extra inches on it. And they're standing a little bit taller, seem a little bit more confident in themselves, seem a little less twitchy than they used to be. I think being with the druids and really getting in tune with the world around them has done them a little bit of good. So they kind of stumble through and start brushing themselves off and just kind of recovering from the cloud of spores they clearly just walked through.
What are you wearing and carrying?
Oh, right. Also important. They look like they're wearing their same, if you could see under their druidic cloak, because they're wearing a pretty big druidic cloak, hood down for now, and you can see just a glint of thin leather armor, like an armor breastplate. But beneath that, it appears to be the same tunic and pants that they were wearing 5 years ago, upkept pretty well, but definitely a little bit more worn. Definitely the same clothes.
Frayed ends of your pants and things.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's going through Rip's mind with you've got a task to do, you're right on the edge of Gladewell. You don't know exactly where you're popping out, but it's close to home. You haven't been home, even though you've wanted to come for a very long time. You miss your Ta. You miss comfort at some level. You've had people hug you, but it's just not the same when it's family. What's going through your mind?
They're a little disoriented because travel by plants is instantaneous. So I just traveled, like 200 miles, just like in the blink of an eye. So I'm a little disoriented, kind of looking around, making sure I'm in the right place. I'm in the right location. I am indeed outside of Gladewell. A bit nervous, really nervous to be out on my first mission on my own. That's a little atypical for the Druidic Order that I've been with. Typically, they were sent out in groups of at least 2 or 3, but they felt that this problem would be one that I could handle on my own and that I was going back home. So they sent me by myself. I'm very excited to go see Pocket, who I've been communicating with pretty regularly, with my pigeon, which, as I remember, I turn around and reach through the hole and grab my pigeon back out. I have Pinch like a baseball in my hand, and I kind of blow the spores off of them and pop them up on my shoulder.
Your pigeon is almost asleep from all these spores. It's just kind of wobbly on your shoulder.
I'm so tired. Pinch is just a tired little guy. What are you gonna do? And really excited to pinch the pigeon. Really excited to be back home. Really excited to see Pocket. I'm also thinking about my friend Vera, who left at the same time, also as an apprentice. Maybe thinking about stopping by her parents' house to say hello and sing her praises because she's been such a good friend over these 5 years. And yeah, just kind of trying to get my bearings, trying to wrestle with the excitement and the nervousness.
Amazing. So just a jumble of wild, excited thoughts. So many things to do. So many, you just can't wait to get started. Sunny, Stony, and Fern. You've put Sunny on the back of Fern's horse. You guys have gone maybe 50 feet, and a loud, tearing, cracking sound comes from a large tree on the left side of the road, and you see a small figure jump out, look around, turn around, and grab something and pull out a bird. stick it on their shoulder, and start marching forward.
Fern has immediately gone into defense mode. So she's kind of, her hand has gone down into the folds of her cloak, and she's gripping onto the handle of her stiletto dagger. And she's subconsciously, without really realizing it, put her hand out to kind of shield Sunny behind her, and put herself in front of her.
Okay.
Sunny is
Just
very.
marching along with my quarterstaff as a walking stick. Do I see them yet?
Roll a perception check. I would say with disadvantage because you're popping out of a cloud of spores and you got a mission in mind.
I'm focused. Alright. Roll a little. That's fine. I was not somewhere deep in D&D Beyond. It's fine. So perception check would be a 14.
You notice there's somebody on the road. It's just a group of horses. You know that there's 3 people. You just catch them out of the corner of your eye as you make your way to the road and you're ready to get started.
Cool.
Why don't the other 3 of you roll a perception check?
Well,
12.
9.
That would be a 4.
A 4. You guys
Actually, a
see
3.
a gnome just come walking out of a tree. No particular instant recognition here. In fact, I would say that Rip is the only one who really notices like any kind of detail. You guys are all like almost startled by it. Rip, you know there's 2 horses and 3 people. Kind of odd. Not totally normal, but nothing too unusual. You know one of them has got pieces of metal and stacks of books and things strapped all over its horse. Also slightly unusual. If you want to stop and check them out, you can.
Yeah, if they're stopped, I think Rip would stop and just make sure everyone is okay. They've spent those 5 years with the Order of Keepers. They're got to make sure everything is chill.
All right. The gnome stops in his tracks and looks you guys dead in the eye, and you all see Rip.
Rip!
Tony!
My old friend! Hello! What?
Hey guys!
what
What?
was that?
Where did you come from?
That's travel by plants. You guys
Oh.
don't travel by plants. Oh, you guys don't travel by plants. No, it's one of the really high up druids sent me. If we have to go like really long distances to a place we've been before, you can just kind of like walk through a tree.
Okay.
What does that feel like?
Yes, do tell me more.
Well,
Let me
you know,
grab my quick.
I was sent by the keeper of the circle of spores, so a little sneezy and a little yellow. But you know, it's not too bad of a way to travel. Cool goggles. I'm gonna reach up and try and poke him as well.
Careful. I'm reading your minor chromatic fluctuations.
Oh,
You
neat.
seem to... Well, you see, when one uses the weave, any sort of magic, there's a sort of snag, a lag behind that allows me to see a particular kind of color. Pardon me?
I like
Who
trying
cares
to
about
interrupt.
that? It's so good to see you.
Yeah, I haven't talked to you in like a long time. Here's Pinch. Pinch says hi.
Hello, Pinch.
Pop him back up.
You are a bird. Stay away
Yeah.
from me.
Yeah, he's doing really good. He got back with your last letter. It was a long one, so it took him a little while, but he got back to me.
That's fantastic.
Are you
What
guys headed into town?
Yes,
Yes.
are you?
How,
Yeah,
how did you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, they said I'm hear something about spiders.
That's what I was told.
Why? There's so many of us.
I don't know.
Something
I think
is.
it was pretty firmly in like our court as druids, but I guess if they sent you guys, there must be something else. Wait, Fern, I haven't talked to you. Sunny, where have you two been? What have you guys been up to?
I can't tell you much about that, but it's
Wow.
been an interesting 5 years.
Okay.
Do you also think it's been 5 years, Rip?
Well, yeah, it's been 5 years.
Okay. Sunny goes
I feel
quiet.
like if we had a time skip, one of the keepers would have said something.
Fern grabs Sunny's hand and holds on to it.
How
He
long
squeezes
do you
that.
think it's been? How long has it been for you?
I don't know, but I thought it was only not that long. I don't really recall much. I remember counting stones at one time, and she just like her voice just trails off.
Does plant magic explain any of that?
No, not that I know of, but I don't really know a lot yet. I mean, I see the keepers do really high level magic all the time, but I don't know how to do it yet.
You walk through trees?
Yeah, they can send anybody through a tree.
That's
you?
good to know.
Yeah, they sent me in Pinch. I can't do that myself yet.
It would
As
look
you-
really cute in a bow tie.
Yeah, you think so?
As you guys are talking and supposedly, I guess, walking, right? Continuing your journey toward town. You're very close. You're a couple miles away. We're going to shift over to a patch of forest. A larger patch of forest off to the north, slightly off the road. And there's a figure running and vaulting over bushes, and this is a dense forest, so it's not easy to walk through. So this figure is running, and fallen trees become ramps, and it jumps from one, kicks off another tree, lands on a tight, big branch about 20 feet up, throws a rope, lets it curl around the next tree, jumps off, uses the rope, pulls it expertly. The rope trails off as this figure grabs on with one hand and flips back to the ground and keeps running. Yetta, can you describe yourself as you move toward the road that leads to Gladewell?
Yeah. So, Pieta is not so scrawny anymore. He has been with the Slayer's take and has been helping them with the monster catching, and has a bit of a more of a build now. He is not super bulky, but he's kind of, as you described it, in an Olympic athlete or something of the sort, where it's lean but it's muscular.
Is he wearing anything in particular? Any armor? Any weapons? Anything other than a rope?
He is not wearing armor. He's wearing simple robes, just like, I think, just plain black robes. And keeping it light. He has a bag, a satchel on him that has his equipment, which is mainly tinkering tools and a short sword. Nothing too crazy. Mhm.
I imagine the tools, the weapons are strapped really tightly on so they can't get caught in his arms or legs movement as he's moving around and grabbing things. Imagine a a parkour athlete, this is what this character is doing as he vaults and tumbles and jumps and kicks off and slides and climbs and dives through this dense growth of forest. You do notice, because you blunder right into them, there are spider webs more than you think are usual. Like every day you get spider webs in your face when you're going through woods, but on this particular run, they're thick, and sometimes you pull out a sword or a hand to chop through them so you don't slow down or anything. They're not stopping you, but they're
Just get
definitely
annoying.
noticeable. Absolutely annoying.
Oh yeah, takes it out of his face.
Yep.
Takes note of it for sure.
Mm-hmm. You sprint, and as you start exiting, as the forest is thinning, you see fields, you see the road ahead, and you see the sky. All of you see the sky. And Ruidus is touching the edge of the circle of the sun.
Do we
The
know
light.
what
Go
that
ahead.
means? Do we know what that means, or what if that causes anything? Or, like, are we in anticipation of it, or do we just simply notice it?
You have all known this was going to happen. It's been a common piece of knowledge. Everybody in this part of the world has been expecting it. It is a time of religious significance to some. There are many gods. Some of them don't have anything to do with the sun or the moon. But there are cults. There are real religions, formed religions that take note of this. It's got arcane significance to some. But in general, to most of the people here in Taldori, it's just cool. It's something that you don't see often, maybe once every 30 years or so. And you know it's happening, so you definitely want to try to see the event. You know you can't look right at it, but there are other ways to see it, like looking through thick glass or putting a hole in something and letting the light shine on the ground where you can see what it actually looks like. So the light in the sky is not changing yet, but if you just glance up at it quickly or look at shadows, there's a tiny little bite taken out of the sun. And
Gotcha.
as Pieta runs out of the forest, there's nothing to bounce off of, so you just keep jogging. In incredible shape, round shoulder muscles, what is visible of the forearms and calves just perfectly formed with the musculature, and whatever we can see of him is toned and tanned and possibly scraped up and scarred to a degree.
Yes. Mhm.
Is your hood up or is it down?
Probably down with all the diving and parkouring and
Okay. Do you have hair?
yeah. Short. But he kind of goes back to the Slayer take and is like, and when they notice it's long, they just sit him down and just kind of whack at it, and he goes like, "Thanks."
Yeah. You never know what your hair's going to get tangled in when you're fighting a monster. How about facial hair? Because you
Uh,
were pretty much a kid of 17 with almost nothing. What do you look like now?
Well, he tried to grow out his facial hair once. It didn't look good, and the Slayer take also commented on it, saying, "Is that your attempt of growing out the facial hair?" So he's been kind of good at keeping it shaven.
Okay. So not too scruffy, short hair, maybe not expertly coiffed, but short to basically for the effect of staying out of your way. You don't want it in your eyes. You don't want it tangling on a weapon or in a monster's claws.
Yeah.
Just for purpose and function. You guys are noticing that Ruidus is getting close. And this figure off in the distance comes jogging out of the woods toward the road in front of you. All in black, right?
Yeah. Maybe
Fern,
there's some streaks of colors here and there, but depending on but yeah, mostly black.
Okay. Do you want you guys all can roll a perception check if you wish.
4. I rolled a 3.
it's a 7.
Okay.
The
17.
19.
17 and 19.
I rolled a 17 without modifiers. I don't know how to do the modifiers here.
Well, 17 on the die, that's going to be pretty high.
Of course we know who
Oh.
it is. That's our guy.
Yeah, absolutely, Pieta. As you sprint out of the woods, you notice 4 people, and it clicks to you immediately. Rip, you click immediately. Y'all both make eye contact, and holy crap, there you are.
I start jogging towards them.
Yeah, Stony, like 2 clicks after that, you see, here comes Pieta. Sonny, you can't tell who it is.
Fern does
Looking
not
at Fern's map.
either.
I'm like waiting for anyone to talk, and then I just like, hey guys, what's up?
Did you just come out of the woods?
Yeah,
You're really fast.
thanks. You look a little confused there, buddy. Let me get closer. And I like hop. I jump onto his horse to give him a hug from either the front or the back, whatever has more space.
Ah, so tall. Oh, please.
Oh, buddy,
Uh,
get over here, you silly goober.
Oh, crushing me.
I would say you could probably just jump up and kind of squat across Stony with your feet balancing on the horse as you hug him.
Perfect. Then I get off
Pieta?
after a few. Yeah, hello. It's me. What's? Haven't changed that much, right? I recognize you guys. Actually, is that? Oh, hey, Mel. Huh, something was off for a sec.
You mean Sonny?
Sunny, hello, Sunny.
You probably recognize me because currently Grim is with Stony.
That's definitely it. Yeah.
But
Fern?
your hair, it's short.
Oh, yeah. I guess it is. I don't really notice too much about it.
Where
Rip.
where did you come from? Why are you here too?
The woods. Oh, why am I here? Oh, I got sent a kind of a distress signal about a spider or something like that. And also there was a cool event happening, and I wanted to check it out. One of the best views is Gladewell, and I thought, why not check it out? I was really reluctant to, but why not check it out?
Look, it's
As
not
he mentions that, sorry, I'll let you come right back. As he mentions that, the ball of Ruidus, the circle of Ruidus, is halfway through the sun.
Rip is frantically searching for my druidic focus somewhere in my cloak so I can pin it to the outside and it can charge in the eclipse.
Cool.
Find it,
Okay,
pull
go
it
ahead.
out.
Go ahead, Fern.
Look, it's not that I'm not happy to see you, but if there's one thing I've learned, it's that coincidences, especially many coincidences, are not coincidences. I don't feel good about this.
I mean, look at it. It's all we reunited. This is great. Are you sure? Nothing's a coincidence. Sure, yeah, fate's a thing, right?
Sure. Yes.
While I do believe in coincidences, this coincidence, I've been doing the math, and you've noticed that in the air, like floating around Stony right now, is what look like they're scrawlings. They look like magical scrawlings. They're just faintly glowing, and they're like it's like quick notes. And he says, "I've done the calculations, and our all of us meeting here is nearly impossible. So, I am guessing a degree of which to the negative, perhaps 10th power. Oh, that is what
The
is
sky
going on?
darkens, finally.
Fern takes out her dagger.
Hey, Fern, you don't have to be so wary. What can possibly happen? Let's just go to town, right? See what's going on.
I thought this was kind of a cool thing. We're all together and we can
Yeah.
experience this together. And I look straight up at the moon.
Wait, that's funny. You probably shouldn't still look at it's. There's still some
Yeah.
sun coming out.
I keep forgetting.
You're right.
As-
It's a great thing. I'll just hold on to this, okay?
You're being a worrywart. Come on. It's all of us reuniting. That's amazing. Man, I
And
missed you guys.
As we keep walking towards Gladewell, Rip hangs back a bit and kind of touches Fern's shoulder to hold her back a bit and say, "It is odd. If it was just spiders, I feel like I would have been sent with the order and it would just be us."
That's what I'm afraid of. And
Well,
celestial bodies. I don't know. So much is happening at the same time.
we'll keep our eyes out. And Rip kind of reaches out and pulls their spears in unscrewed together, screws it back together, and kind of holds that and kind of puts it back on my back, holds onto my quarterstaff, and says, "Yeah, I think maybe we should be ready for
I think so
anything."
too.
Do I hear any of the celestial bodies or anything? Any keyword mentioned there? Or we were pretty close to them talking, or were they too like kind of hush hush?
Roll a perception check.
Okay. 18.
Oh, you know that they're very worried. You notice that they keep glancing up at the sky. You do hear the word celestial bodies.
I'm jogging along the horses.
Yeah, if you guys start moving again, you crest a hill in the road, and below you is the valley between the two foothills of the Iron Seat Ridge, and you see Gladewell and the path leading down. It doesn't look like what it used to, but as you're looking down at it, Ruidus perfectly centers itself. The light goes dark. It's like nighttime, except for a donut, a ring of fire in the sky. It looks like fire, not like light. And as that happens, you see sparkling apes shimmering in the sky. Not shapes of things, but lines and connections. And you see what, as the sky darkens and there's this perfect ring of fire, it looks like the sky is made of a giant web or net of millions of interconnected, glowing, faintly glowing lines, branching out in many different ways, but all connected. Fractals, all connected into a great covering throughout the entire sky. Does Stony have his goggles on?
Oh yes, he is going crazy. He's like, this is what is this?
It's an
Stony,
eclipse.
when you put your glasses off and on, with them on, you can see that this pattern, this connectedness, these lines and highways and roads and stripes and strips that cover the sky also reach to the ground. It's among you. And they are all different sizes. You can't feel them. But you all get the great sense of partially peace, that everything is connected. And if you pull one, all of them will feel it. But you also get a kind of unease in the fragility of it all. The feeling that you're part of it as well. And if one strand goes. And as you guys see this, you notice there's an odd bit above the town that you see in the distance. Above it, there are maybe not holes, but frayed lines, gaps that are slightly wider than other places. And then Ruidus slides off the center, and it's just dark again.
Would we need to roll a check to know, or is it pretty clear to all of us that we were able to briefly see the weave for a moment there?
You could roll an Arcana check.
Oh, it's not good, but I could.
If anyone wants to roll Arcana, sure.
Oh, first bad roll of the night. It's a really ugly 5.
Okay, sorry about your die.
Yeah, I got a
That-
6.
Symbolism.
Is a natural 20 for a total of 25.
Whoa.
Stoney in his bag.
Stony, you tell us what we just saw.
So, Stoney, something clicks inside his mind.
By the way, whatever you say is going to be right because you just rolled a 20.
He frantically searches his notes. He says, "This is what I've been studying. I know what this is. These are the strands of the ley line. They're like a. That's right. They're like a tree with roots. They pop up from these ley lines and they lay over all of Tal'Dorei with a veiny-like substance, and they transfer nutrients or raw magical energy, and wizards are able to take these tubes, these long tubes, and gate them and subsection them. It's part of my greater research, figuring out how to study these. But I'm getting off track. These are those tubes. It's what you touch when you perform magic. However it is that you decide to do it, whether it's your connection to nature or to a patron or what have you, to a deity, they pull at these strands and they form patterns, and, well, it performs magical effects. But something was wrong about the ones over Gladewell. No, that was wrong. They were frayed. They were split. What could that mean? That could mean few things. Oh, magical energy spilling out. Oh, what could that mean? Oh, anything could happen if magical energies are spilling out into this realm. Oh, that's not good, is it? Or it could be an opportunity. An opportunity for what, though?
Fern is going to put a hand on his shoulder to try to kind of bring him back to Earth.
Oh, yes? I mean, don't touch me.
Whoa. That was a lot. and I am
Did you say
beginning to
something
feel
about
uneasy.
magic leaking?
Well, potentially. I mean, the tubes are. Well, they're supposed to be solid, and wizards are very good at. Well, anyone who's good at magic would know that tying, and gating and filtering tubes of raw magic in this format would know how to properly do it without them bursting, or else they won't get the desired magical effects. Usually, these things are very sturdy, but I've never seen it like this before. Maybe I was mistaken. Maybe it could be something else?
How do you fix one?
Oh, I have no idea.
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out what's happening within it.
Approach
Sure.
with
How would
caution.
we do that?
Go immediately to the source and test everything.
Yeah, Stoney's right.
How do you test that, though?
Where's the source?
Let's see here. It should be, if I remember correctly, do that way and over. Well, let's see, and this way. Yes, follow me.
To answer that question, from what you saw, large lines leading to smaller and smaller and smaller in every direction, every size. So Stony was the only one who saw that it actually came all the way down and saturated everything. But to source, it seemed everywhere. So from what you could tell, there's may not necessarily be one place.
I see. Okay.
Well, if they're broken over the town, perhaps we should go to the town.
Oh, yes, quite. Again, with a good idea. How very unexpected of you.
Well, I am unexpected sometimes, Stony.
More like all the time. But we continue.
The sky starts to brighten as Ruidus moves past. In the distance, you can see the last little kind of fireworks going off in over Gladewell. People have been celebrating this moment, but now it's starting to be daytime again. And so you guys come down the rise into the valley where Gladewell lies. It's different, though. The road widens as you near Gladewell. Wider than you've seen it. And it's not just a dirt path anymore. It's not just a well-traveled stretch of ground. Cobbles. You see cobbles starting in the distance as if this part of the road has been paved. There's occasional litter on the ground from like discarded leather straps and strips of little cloth and clumps of cotton, things that have fallen off wagons or broken away or even been thrown aside, which is very unusual, because that means there's been a lot of traffic coming and going through here. You don't remember seeing visitors to Gladewell on a daily basis, and that's what this looks like. As you come down the road, you see houses, kind of like shanty shacks and sheds built up even this far out, like a mile outside of town. Little small patches of scraped together farms with little like stick fences that are held together by wire and cloth. Dogs bark at you as you walk down the road. in these little structures are like pigsties and goats. There are animals tethered to poles that can wander around and eat in a circle around poles. Chickens running around. This used to be farmland and fields. Up on the hill to your right, the hill that you had to climb to get up to the Hadrosaur farm, you see that the fence of the Hadrosaur farm has been extended, and you can see it from the road now. They must have grown. You can hear, now that you're thinking of it, the sounds of the bellowing dinosaurs in the distance, like big trumpets bouncing off of the hills. Buildings in front of you down the road are new. Buildings have been thrown up that you don't recognize. You haven't seen these before. And as you move closer to town, there's a little station on each side of the road, and there are soldiers in Iman livery who stand up as you walk down the road. You see another couple of carts coming your way, leaving town, and they leave. But as you walk up to the soldiers, one of them stands up and blocks your way. He's kind of got a belly and maybe in his mid to late 30s, hikes up his pants and adjusts his belt and makes sure his sword is loose and just out of habit. And he says, "Welcome to Gladewell. State your business."
Who are you?
I?
think I recognize you.
Well, you might recognize me. I've been here for a couple of years. I'm old Tonkus, as you know. Maybe. Yeah. So, he takes a while and looks at each of you. No, don't recognize you. All right. State your business.
We're from here.
Visiting home.
Yes, we are from here. But also, yeah, this might help us get in. And he produces a letter that entails that he needs to talk to, let's see, Nom Dragulo. You'll notice that it has the Alabaster Lyceum seal on it. So, if you don't mind.
The wizard, eh? You a wizard yourself there?
Oh, he's a genius.
Soon
Genius
to be
wizard.
things.
Well, you
Yes.
got business with Nom, you know his name. I figure you got something to do here. That's fine. Everyone together.
Yeah, we're with him.
I don't know that one. And he points at Fern. She was just kind of with us on the road. Yes. And we just happened to feel so bad for her that we picked her up along the way.
Is that right, Sonny?
He feels the need to lie. She's with us, obviously. She's a friend.
A friend, Stony.
This soldier looks up at you. Now, why are you going to go pull a trick on old Tonkas like this?
I'm not
Rude.
fine.
He looks at Fern. Okay there, love.
Yes.
Everything well?
Yeah, it would be
This
if
one-
this one would be better.
Do I need to have a talk with him?
Absolutely, please.
No.
Down from there, please. Let's see if we can get a word to Nom, see if you're okay. Harassing young ladies. You should be ashamed of yourself. Climb down here, boyo.
I try to get Tunt's attention and say, "Hey, it's a lover's quarrel." Wink.
His eyes go wide and his face kind of goes a little white and then red, and he gives a big smile and scratches the top of his head. Well then, okay then. Listen, he points to Stony. Boyo, they like it when you're nice to them. You don't have to be mean. They like it when you're nice. Take it from old. All right. In with you. Welcome to Gladewell. As I said, hope if you're coming back, hope you love what's happening here. If you don't, no complaining to me. Well, have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. Yeah. I've got a chess game to win here, Dragon Chess. And this bloke fixing to lose to old Tonks. And he turns his back on you and goes and sits back down.
Pieta grabs Stony and like punches him a little bit, like just joke, like very lightly, and walks and enters Gladewell.
Peter, I didn't realize you were such a smooth talker. What did you say to him that let us walk on by?
Oh, what did I say? Oh, God, I hate lying. I just told
You don't
him
have to lie.
the truth. I just told him the truth. Oh, did you hear that? That was towards myself.
What are you talking to me? Why wouldn't I hear you?
Oh God, I've been traveling alone for so long. Anyways, hey, why don't we check up on our homes? See how things have changed.
I don't know if I can get home in all this change.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know exactly where the forest starts from here. Here, Rip, do you want to come with me and maybe we can scout it out?
Sure, yeah. Taking us to the forest, I should be able to spot Taw Pocket's little tree nook from there.
Yeah, as you guys come closer to the center of town, you see there's a road leading off north and south, which there used to not be. It's a crossroads of sorts before you enter into the part of town that you know. Standing at this crossroads is a place called... what is it called? I have it right here. The Freshwater Inn. It's nice. It looks like a brand new inn. There are a couple horses tied outside, a couple wagons parked, people coming and going. It smells like food in there. This is nowhere. It's nothing like the Twisted Stein, the tavern that you guys went in once or twice before you left.
Relation to the Twisted Stein? Is the Twisted Stein still around, I guess?
Well, you don't know. You haven't gone into town.
Okay.
You're just approaching. There are other buildings. There are what's clearly barracks, soldiers hanging out there, Iman soldiers. There are other buildings that look like bigger houses that have gone up right here on the outskirts. Right where your tournament field was, there's a nice big house surrounded by a couple of almost as nice houses. Nobody's coming and going necessarily from there, but there are nice carriages and a couple stables off behind them. Looks like people have moved in. You see stalls down the road as you move in that are selling things that are not produced in Gladewell. People, merchants from maybe everywhere have come in to try to set up little shops in Gladewell. It is now on a crossroads, even though you don't know where these two side roads go. Do you stop and look, or do you move right past?
I'll take a peek in the windows as we pass to see if I spot Pocket's plume of red hair anywhere in there.
One of them is called um, the Wizard's Post. And if you look in, there is somebody with long, lanky red hair, but it's not a gnome. It is I think, a half elf. Yeah. There are other places with food, seafood, 300 miles from the coast, and it's not brook trout. It's like seafood, clams and squid and things that you can't get in Gladewell. There are other places that sell trinkets and jewelry that is from far away, maybe as far as jungle areas. There's things made of bones and strange carved nuts and just all kinds of manner of weird things. Maybe not weird, but unusual in a place like Gladewell. Sonny, you can definitely tell that it would have taken more than a couple months for this change to occur.
I think the realization's just starting to hit her that it has probably been 5 years, even though they all said that. She hasn't quite, like, sunk in. So she's just grown very quiet and overwhelmed by all this chaos, and all she can think about is family that she didn't even say goodbye to, and now she hasn't seen them for 5 years.
Yeah.
Stony.
You do notice on these two side roads that lead away from this main road, they're not paved with cobblestones. They're deep ruts, and you see coming down from the south down the hill is a huge wagon being pulled by a couple of very large horses, and it's full of logs, giant logs that have been taken from the hillside. And you guys know that Gladewell has loggers, but not in this not in this size, not to this scope.
Stony, I think you should give Sunny Grim.
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. And so he takes the groom off the horse, and, he walks over to Sunny. And Grim, if you ever needed some kind of replacement for that missing hand of yours, I'd be more than happy to make you a new one. And he boops his nose and hands him back to Sunny.
As soon as you hand him back to Sunny, she just looks down at him and doesn't say anything. You can tell that she's a little in her thoughts right now. But Grim, who hasn't said a single thing to you while you were riding with him, goes, oh, thank fucking goodness. That guy's so dull, even a mimic wouldn't want to imitate him.
I always liked him.
And she just goes to start petting Grim, kind of as like a comforting thing.
You guys continue on into town. And town square looks the same kind of buildings. You see the Twisted Stein is still there. Homes and houses that you recognize are still there. It's mostly the outskirts that have changed, and the town has grown. You see not just one windmill on the other side of town, but 3 now.
Sunny, why don't we go into the Twisted Stein? Maybe a drink will help.
Yes, I guess it'd be nice to see Kalindra. I hope she remembers me.
I'm sure she will.
Okay, let's do it. Wait. Oh, Pediatra, you can drink now, right?
Yeah, I don't do it too often. That's a lie. We drink a lot at the Slayers. Yeah, I guess so.
Is everybody going into the Twisted Sign?
I
As
am
you-
parched.
As you push through the doors, the same old sour beer on the floor smell, the same shiny copper top bar, although not that many people are in it. And the only people you see here are locals. You recognize all like 6 folks who are in here. And behind the bar, you see this dwarf woman wiping and scouring the copper to keep it shiny. And as you come in, she looks up and her eyes go wide. And she just starts crying and jumps over the bar and tackles Sonny into a bear hug. You're alive! You're fucking alive! I can't believe it! I can't believe it! Where you been, girl? Where you been? Everybody's looked for you high and low. Where you been? Oh, you're alive! She holds you and then grabs you again, crying on your shoulder.
Me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't have an excuse. I guess I just wasn't here.
Where? Oh, we gotta hear all. Oh, the whole. She points to one of her helpers. Have you talked to your mothers?
No, I
She
haven't.
points. Go get her mothers, quick, fast as you can run. And they run out the front door.
Thank you.
You hungry? You
Yes.
fucking hungry? You thirsty? What can I do? How can I help you?
We would like 6 beers, please.
And she grabs you again. Oh, I thought you killed yourself by making some kind of shitty beer with something in it that. Yeah. Have a seat. She pulls out a chair for you and hustles around to pull out chairs for everyone. You said 6.
Yeah.
Who's?
You put
Oh,
Grim
you
on the bar
got-
stool next to me.
Oh, Grim. She tries to go to hug Grim, and then fucking sorry, and she grabs you again. Hold tight.
Nice to see you.
Oh, love. It's been ages.
You have some more gray in your.
Yeah, aye. You drove it into me, or out of me, whatever. We've been fretting for years. Hold on. And she goes off and brings a big old tray full of ales and hands you Grim, sits down in Grim's chair. She slams a fist on the table. Well, I'd appreciate some fucking talking then. And that's where we're going to stop for the evening. Welcome back to Gladewell, ladies and gentlemen. That was a lot of fun. For all of our avid watchers and listeners, thank you so much for joining us as we kick off our level 1 characters. And, oh boy, that was great. Great job, everyone. And we'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.